Welcome to Ed Fluential Sports, where passion meets precision. As I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. And yesterday we saw the Stanley Cup wrap up. As the NHL Stanley Cup was 6 games, and it went longer than the NBA Finals, which was five, which we already talked about. So, uh, not even a day late because I usually post these a day after, anyways. So, to get y'all some NHL content because it's gonna be a while before I'm back talking about hockey. I mean, I'm gonna find ways to talk about it throughout the off season, have different lists and stuff like that. But the Hurricanes, they won the Stanley Cup and they won it in 6 games. First game though wasn't great for them. First game was one of the most exciting games of the series. Not the most exciting, but definitely up there. The Golden Knights won that 5-4. Definitely a shock for them. They scored four goals within 2 periods. Yeah, in the second and third period. Like that was absolute. Like Mitch Marner, he had assists. Like the whole team just went crazy as far as assist goes. Like just setting each other up. And this was a 5-point regulation. They was like, wow, Golden Knights, they came out hot. They already got the advantage taking one on the road. But then goalkeeping what Carter Hart, Frederick Anderson, they didn't do much this game as they gave up 9 total goals in the first game of the Stanley Cup, which is crazy to think about. And then in game two, you get the first overtime game of the series. And this series featured multiple overtime games. Two of these games went to overtime. Uh, yeah, game two, the Hurricanes ended up winning 4-3, and they made a miraculous comeback. They were down 2-0 after the first 2 periods. They scored 3 goals in the third period of game two, but Vegas also scored a goal, which is why it was straight three and went into overtime, where the Hurricanes had to finish the job there. Mitch Marner played better in this game with 2 assists, and then Brett Howden, he had two of their 3 goals, and Mark Stone had the other goal. But Carolina was able to bounce back in that third period and in overtime, getting goals from all different individuals of Logan Stankoven, Jordan Stahl, Seth Jarvis, and Mark Jankowski. Uh, Jan- Jankowski. I might have said that wrong, but all four of them had goals. So they had four different players score goals, and they would win that game in overtime. And then game three, so back-to-back overtime games, but game three will go to double overtime and will be the same score as the first game, which was 5-4. And the difference, yeah, the Vegas ended up winning this game, taking a 2-1 lead. So just how they had won, uh, excuse me, they had won game one 5-4 in regulation. It took them double overtime to win 5-4. And Frederick Anderson ended up getting benched for the Hurricanes. Brandon Bosey, he came in there, played majority of the minutes, and he tried to do his thing. It just wasn't enough. But the 94.7 save percentage only gave up 1 goal. Meanwhile, for Vegas, Carter Hart, even though he was disappointing, it wasn't crazy bad to where he had to be benched and be in the doghouse or whatever. But this was a phenomenal game from Mitch Marner. He had 3 goals and 1 assist in this game, had 10 shot attempts, so he was doing his thing. He really wanted this. They knew that they needed that win, and they won. But this was a weird game for Vegas because they led 4-0 after the second period. So through the first 2 periods, they were up 4-0. They were completely outplaying Carolina. The Hurricanes responded with 4 goals in that third period to send it to overtime. And then both teams were so tired that nobody scored in overtime. So they ended up going to double overtime to decide the winner as Shea Theodore had a game winner. I think that was his second game winner of this playoffs. I could be mistaken, but if it wasn't a game winner, he had a really big play in one of the previous rounds. So now Vegas goes up 3-1, 2-1, not 3-1, 2-1, and now all the pressure is on Carolina as Vegas is up 2-1, and game four is in Vegas, and they had a lead right now. But Carolina, they did their thing. Came out on a great note. They were amazing in this game. Three. Oh, I don't know why I just said runs. I'm thinking of baseball. 3 goals in the first period, outscoring Vegas 3-1. Then Vegas was able to tie it by the second period, which we're seeing this a lot. One team will be hot in one period, then the second period they go completely cold while the other team gets hot. And that was the story of this series. Realistically, that's really what this series was. And so after that, it was tied 3-3 going into the third period, which Carolina would outscore Vegas 2-0 and end up winning the game 5-3. So first period came out super hot. started the game hot, ended it hot. But that middle period, that was rough. That was definitely tough for them. But they were able to tie the series as it went back to Carolina, and all the momentum on their side as they scored. Um, as they just dominated that last period of the game like that. Them dominating that, not allowing them to get any goals, not going into overtime again. Because out of this 6 game series, they went to overtime twice. So this was definitely a competitive series. But once they got to game 5, that's when Carolina truly took over. That's when it kind of became clear. It's like, yeah, they probably got this. Because Paywell D, he had 2 goals. Mitch Marner, this was his worst game of the series, game 5. He didn't do nothing. He was a negative when he was on the floor. He played 21 minutes, but he didn't do much anything. Jack Eichel, he lost 12 faceoffs, so he also had a terrible game. Meanwhile, Carolina scored in every period this time. This was the first time, I think, in the series where they scored in every period, but they scored in every period this time. Was great from start to finish. Uh, Nicolo Ehlers, he had 3 assists in this game. Uh, Andriy Shinnikov, 2 goals. So Brandon Bosey, he started in this game. Well, I think he started in most of them. Wait, no, he didn't. But yeah, Bosey, he had a 92 save percentage in this game for Carolina. So yeah, Frederick Anderson didn't play in this game 5, and then so now Carolina's up 3-2. Game 6, Carolina continues to stick. They stuck with Brandon Bosey. Game 6 closeout game, 22 save attempts, 0 goals against, 22 saves, and a 100 save percentage. Carolina scores 1 goal in each period, winning 3-0, as Vegas does absolutely nothing. Mitch Marner, I think his worst stretch of the playoffs was game 5 and game 6 of the Stanley Cup, but he definitely got to give him his credit for getting this far on his new team and being one of the leaders of that team. But all credit has to go to Carolina. They was down 2-1. They ended up winning the Stanley Cup in 6 games, got the job done, made the right move, mentioned Frederick Anderson, bringing in Brandon Bosey, who's the reason why they won this. Without his goalkeeping, this is a potential 7 game series, and Vegas probably has Mitch Marner. He probably has a ring with the Stanley Cup with Vegas if it's not for them making that adjustment. Carolina saying to Frederick Anderson, you have to be benched because you haven't performed well. We trust Brandon Bosey to close it out for us, and that's what he did. So all praise to him, because without him, they don't win that series. But this was a really entertaining series. I enjoyed everything about it. Uh, it was, I think it was better than the NBA finals, but uh, yeah, the NBA finals, it was cool. It was 5 games, but they were all close. Even the first one was close until like the last 3 minutes. But the Stanley Cup, it definitely went crazy because of the storylines in it. But and then Jordan Stahl won playoff MVP, I think. Um, so shout out to Jordan Stahl. He did his thing. Uh, he didn't do anything in game 6, but that's just 1 game out of the series. Throughout the series in general versus Vegas, because he missed game 1 due to an injury. But he was an integral part of this team throughout their playoff run and their success throughout the season. So shout out to Jordan Stahl. But yeah, with that being said, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment your thoughts, and share for others to see.